Hey everyone, today we're going to talk about a guy who did something that seemed, well, basically impossible. His name was Theodor Svedberg, and he built a machine to see a world no one could see, figuring out how to weigh the very building blocks of life itself. Pretty wild, right? Let's get into it.
I mean, really think about that for a second. How would you even begin weighing a single molecule? It's like trying to weigh a shadow or a thought. It sounds totally out there, but back in the early 1900s, this wasn't just some philosophical puzzle. It was a massive roadblock for all of chemistry. And then along comes our guy, a chemist from Sweden, who looked at this impossible problem and basically said, you know what? I think I can solve that. His quest wouldn't just answer the question. It would end up changing biology and chemistry forever. All right, so who was this guy? Let's dive into his story, because he was pretty much a scientist from childhood, moving all the way from botany to biochemistry. You see, a mind like his doesn't just appear in a university lecture. Nope. For Svedberg, that intense curiosity was there right from the very beginning.
Okay, so he was born in Sweden way back in 1884. As a kid, he was obsessed with the natural world, especially plants. Botany was totally his thing. But here's the kicker. He wasn't just collecting flowers. He was the kind of kid who was actually setting up and running his own little lab experiments in grammar school. I mean, that's a pretty big clue about where his life was headed, right? A total hands-on innovator from day one.
And that passion, it just absolutely exploded when he got to Uppsala University. Get this, he gets his bachelor's degree in 1905. Just 2 years later, he's got his master's. And only 1 year after that, in 1908, boom, he's got his PhD. We're talking 3 degrees in basically 3 years. The guy was an absolute academic powerhouse, clearly on a mission. So what exactly was that mission? Well, it all came down to solving the mystery of colloids. He was setting out to explore this strange world that exists between worlds. You have to understand, this wasn't some boring, settled area of science. This was the frontier, kind of like the Wild West of chemistry at the time. So what in the world is a colloid? You've seen them your whole life. It's just a mix where really tiny particles are floating around evenly in something else. They don't sink and they don't dissolve. Milk is a perfect example. So is fog, or even the plasma in your blood. On the surface, they seem simple, but at the molecular level, nobody had a clue what was really going on. And here's where it gets really, really cool. Svedberg's research wasn't happening in some isolated bubble. It was directly connected to the work of absolute giants. I mean, he provided crucial physical proof for none other than Albert Einstein and his theory of Brownian motion. That's the idea that tiny particles seem to jiggle around because they're being smacked by even tinier invisible atoms. Svedberg's work was helping to prove Einstein right. That's a huge deal.
But just observing wasn't enough for Svedberg. To really truly understand these particles, to figure out their size, their mass, he knew he needed a new kind of tool, something that didn't exist yet. And since it didn't exist, well, he just figured he'd have to build it himself.
And this was his masterpiece, the analytical ultracentrifuge. Yeah, the name's a bit of a mouthful, but the idea behind it was pure genius. He built a machine whose whole purpose was to spin things so ridiculously fast that it created a gravitational pull thousands upon thousands of times stronger than Earth's. It was quite literally a machine designed to do the impossible. So how did this brilliant machine actually work? Well, when you break it down, it's beautifully simple. First, you pop in a sample, let's say some proteins mixed in a liquid. Second, you hit the on switch and spin it at just insane speeds. This creates these massive G-forces that start pulling everything apart. And here's the magic. The heavier molecules get pulled out faster than the lighter ones. So third, you just watch. By tracking how fast everything separated, Svedberg could calculate the precise mass of individual proteins for the very first time. And listen, this wasn't just about getting a number. Knowing a protein's weight unlocked everything. How it works, how it fails in disease. It's the foundation for so much of modern medicine. And the scientific community noticed immediately. The impact was profound. This quote here is from the Royal Society. We're talking one of the most prestigious scientific groups on the planet, and they honored him specifically for this work. He hadn't just made an improvement, he had given science a brand new pair of eyes to see a world that had always been hidden. So let's talk about that legacy, because it was absolutely Nobel-winning. We're going to see how Svedberg really did change chemistry. You know, when you have a breakthrough this massive, the biggest awards in science are going to come knocking. This wasn't just a new gadget, it was the birth of a whole new field of science.
And sure enough, in 1926, it happened. Theodor Svedberg was awarded the Nobel Prize in Chemistry. That was it, the top prize. He had taken on that impossible problem and he'd solved it. He handed the world the key to finally understanding the molecular machinery of life itself.
But you know what? The Nobel was really just the beginning. After that, it was like a flood of recognition. The absolute top scientific institutions in the world lined up to honor his monumental contribution, from the Royal Society in London to the National Academy of Sciences in the US. Everybody knew his work was celebrated as truly revolutionary.
But if you ask me, this might be the most amazing part of his impact. His name is now literally part of the language of science. A Svedberg is a fundamental unit used in the very process he invented. It's a ridiculously tiny slice of time, 10 to the minus 13th seconds. Just think about that. Scientists today, in labs all over the globe, are still measuring things in Svedbergs. Now that is true immortality. And just to paint a fuller picture of the man, all of this incredible energy wasn't just confined to his lab. His personal life was just as full. He was married 4 times and was a father to 12 children, making him a giant in both his professional and his personal worlds.
You know, Svedberg's story is such a great reminder that with enough curiosity and ingenuity, the unseen can be made seen. It leaves us with a fascinating question, doesn't it? What impossible problems are today's scientists about to solve? What invisible worlds are they revealing to us right now?